Sometimes we want to put a design on a project, and we find it very hard to visualize the scale of our embroidery, how big to make it, how much curve to put in it if you want to go around a corner, all those sorts of issues. And so it's really useful to have the pattern of the project behind your embroidery digitizing as a guide to work with. Now, that's all well and good if your pattern fits on an A4 sheet of paper, but what if it's larger than that? There is a way to join your pattern pieces together, and so that's what this video is about. So you can see here that I've got on my image, if I zoom in, there's actually jagged edges on the image, and that's because I've joined several scans together to do this. But there is a problem when you join scans together, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. And so the video will also show you a solution to that, so that you can bring your pattern in and get it the full size in your software. Now, you'll also notice on my pattern I've got a lot of lines going through the pattern. So before I scanned, I actually ruled a grid on my pattern, because I didn't have enough detail in the pattern shape itself to accurately line up and keep everything square. So these lines that I've drawn on are square. I used a square ruler to make sure that I had a grid that I could work with to keep everything together nicely. So before you scan in, that's important. The other important thing to do is to note the resolution on your scanner. What resolution are you scanning in at? So I scanned in at 96 dots per inch. And that works with even version 6 software. So it's probably a good one to use. I had a nice clear pattern because I'd drawn it with felt pen, but if your pattern comes out too faint, you might want to trace around it with a felt pen to make it nice and bold. And I used a black pen for the lines, and a black biro for the lines. That's worked out quite well. It looks like it's got gaps here, but when you zoom in, you can see that they are joined up. Okay. Now, let's go through to ArtCanvas and see how to do this. I'm going to delete this first because I don't want it in the background confusing things. And we'll start from scratch. Now, if you have a compatible scanner, you can scan directly into your software. I've actually haven't, so I've scanned and saved my scan files to my computer. So we'll work with those. Let's open one of them to start with. So, and because I've already been to that location, here they all are. I've got some other scans in there too, but the apron ones are here. Okay, so let's select the first one and import it. And press enter to make sure it doesn't disappear on you. Alright, now this is a JPEG. So we need to be doing all our editing in the other part of the software. So while it's selected, we come up to Edit Bitmap, and that will take us through to Corel Photo Paint. Now, you could do this by just opening Corel Photo Paint without opening the whole software if you want to. If you would rather do that, then go through the 3 steps and then just open your final scan in your embroidery software later. Okay, so we've got this scan here. Now, we can zoom in and out, so don't worry about the size of it because it is to actual size. It's been scanned in at 96 dots per inch. Now, the scan is a certain size, so if I was to bring another scan into this same window, it would be on top of it, and I wouldn't have any room to I'll show you what I mean. I wouldn't have any room to move the scans around and join them. And there's another issue as well. So while we've got this activated, let's bring another scan into this same page. So to do that, you need to File, Import, and get your next scan and import. And here it is, and if you left click, it will anchor it to the workspace. Now you can see here that it's not showing up because our actual work canvas is not big enough to hold any other scans. It's actually only the size of the first scan we brought in. You can see when I hover over this one up the top here that I do get the move tool and I can bring it down, but it overlaps the top one completely because they're both A4 images. The other issue is that it's got a white background, so as I move it over, the white background is actually covering up the lines below, so I can't match up. Well, I could, but it's not as easy as having a transparent background. So if I scan right out and move it to there and then zoom into this part, I'll have to scroll. Where's my scroll bars? I haven't even got a scroll bar because I'm showing the whole image here, so it becomes very difficult. So let's undo all of that so that that one's gone. So what we need to do is make this workspace larger, but we also need to have clear backgrounds. So I found it easier just to make a complete workspace, a new document, and then move the scans into that new document. So to do that, you come up here to your new, the very far left icon, and you'll get a create a new image dialog. Leave the preset destination as default. Give your document a name. So I'm going to call this Peg Apron Pattern. And make a size that is larger than your actual finish pattern. So you can change from centimetres to inches in this drop down dialog here. I'm going to make this 70 by 85 because I've measured my pattern and it's smaller than that. Then we come to the resolution, and this is the really important part. This resolution must match the resolution that you scanned in at. So I've got it at 96 dots per inch, which is what I scanned in at. I'm leaving the background as white, and I'm leaving the colour mode, but you can change that to black and white if you so desire. You're not going to be printing this out because you've already got your printed pattern, so you don't need to change it to black and white if you don't want to. And go OK, and you'll get another document here. Now it doesn't look all that big, in fact it looks smaller than this one, but that's just the zoom factor. It's got nothing to do with the size. Now, to put our scan from this one over here to this one over here, we can click on the top blue bar to activate this image, and then we could select it by going Control A, and the whole thing is selected, and then we can go copy. It's now on the clipboard. Now we activate our new document and go paste. And here it is. And as you can see, it looks much smaller because of the zoom factor. It's got nothing to do with the actual size. Alright, now, of course, I have got the white background still. So I'm going to run into the same problem with the white background cutting itself off when I bring the next scan in. So Control A selects the whole image. I'm going to delete that and come back to this image here, this first scan. And I'll go, the selection is a mask, so you can remove the mask by coming up here and to the mask menu button and click on remove. And now nothing is selected. Okay. What we want to select are just the black lines, and we can do that with our magic wand selection tool. So if you come over here to your selection tools on the toolbar, the second one down, if you click on, the second one down is a rectangle mask, so you can just draw a rectangle to select whatever is in that rectangle. But if you click on the little fly out menu at the right, you will get the magic wand mask, and that's the one we're going to use. Or you can use W on your keyboard. Select that option and bring your cursor will change to a magic wand, and bring it back over. And what we're going to do is click on the black line. Now there is a tolerance option up here. I've got mine at 35 and that seems to work okay. If it's not selecting enough of the black in one click, then you might want to increase that. If it's selecting more than the black lines, if it's selecting the white background as well, you might want to decrease that. Now you have to actually be on the black line, so I'm going to zoom in so that my magic wand is actually on the black line, and left click. Now I'm going to zoom out and see what is selected, and as you can see, I've got marching ants around all the black, even this little horrible bit of smudge up the top here, but I'm not too worried about that. A little smudge on the final finished article won't be a problem. Now I can see a couple of gaps here, so I'm going to zoom in and just make sure that they are actually gaps, not gaps, sorry. I'll zoom out again. I want to get down to that bit there, and I need to, I should have, you see as I zoom in, you can actually see they're not gaps, they are actually selected. So if you see gaps, don't panic, because they might actually be connected. It's just too fine to see when you're zoomed out. Alright, once that's selected, you can come up to copy, then activate your other workspace and go paste. And now we've got a clear background, we've just got the lines. So to move this around, you need to actually be over the selected lines to get the move tool activated. Now I scanned this in sideways, so bear with me, we might turn the whole image around later once we've got it all joined together.